So in today's video, we'll look at three differences between trigger and a collider. So let me do this as usual. Let me bring this forward, okay, to where the camera can see it. Now scale this cube on the X to 100 and on the Z also to 100. So I'll bring this down a bit so that my camera can look at it. Then I'm going to add material to this. I'll call this matte. So I'm going to make it something greenish and give it a bit of metallicness. I like that shiny look on it for some reason. There it is. So let's create two objects. That's a cube, and let's duplicate this. So I'll bring one forward this way, this also. You know what, let me delete this for now. Let me use this cube. Okay, so this is it. And then I'm going to add a rigid body to this cube so that it uses gravity. Rigid body, there it is. So this now by default it has a box collider. If it doesn't, you can always go into here, go into the add component, type in collider. It will show you the different types of colliders. Since it's 3D game object, you would want to use mainly the one without 2D on it, so like capsule collider and many others, so depending on the one you want. So we have a default box collider. So if I am to duplicate this box right now, move this up. Well, it didn't work. If I were to Control D, duplicate this and then move it up, when I hit the play, they should hit each other. Okay, so this is what happens when I play. You see the cube, when I bring it up, it falls down. So it uses gravity by default, and then when it hits the tube on down below it, it collides with it. So this kind of gives the body like a kind of, should I say, mass, or it gives it kind of mass, so that it gives it that that feeling or that sensation to collide with another body. So if this hits it, it doesn't fall right through, but then watch what happens if I set them both to trigger. So you take this is trigger for the first cube, and then the second cube you do the same thing. When I hit play, they should just fall through each other. So this is what happens on trigger. So mainly the difference here is that when you leave the default as a collider, it detects other game objects with colliders, and so when it hits it, when it hits another game object, they don't pass through each other. But then when you are using trigger, you kind of are trying to get that you're trying to get like sense what it is touching, okay, or what it is connecting to. Trigger just gives like an impression of collision, but it doesn't actually collide. So when you're using a game object, if you want to sense if a player is touching another game object, you use the trigger function, you see. But then if you are using the collider, it hits and then it falls back. So that is the first difference. The second difference we will talk about being the code. So for our second difference will be in the code. When you want to detect if a game object has a collision with another game object, the code you use for this would be on void on collision, enter, then you define what you want to use. That is, for in this case it will be collision, so this would be it, collision, and then you give it a variable, something to contain it, and then this is it. So I would use an if statement here. If col is not equal to null, then debug debug.log hello. Okay, so save this and then let's try it in Unity. Well, let's wait for it to compile it a bit. Now I'll choose the game object that is up top, and then I'll add this script to it. So you can add a script using this method, or you can just drag it and drop it here. You can see there it is, but then since it's already added, let's see what it looks like now. When I press play, and you can see it debugs hello. So it detects the collision with another game object. But then if you set this on to trigger, okay, and then I press play, you can see it's not going to be the same thing. Let's watch and see what happens. And you see there is no statement or hello, there is no printing out of any hello whatsoever in our console. So what do we do in this case if we want to use a trigger instead of a collider? Well, for this we use a different code entirely. Instead of void on collision enter, let's delete this. Instead of void on collision, we use void on trigger enter. Okay, then for this we use, instead of collision, we use collider. Cool. So we use void on trigger enter, and then if we check if col is not equal to null, then we use the same statement with debug.log hello. Okay, so let's save this and let's try it in Unity now. It's compiling, so let me go ahead and clear this. Now let me hit the play button so we see what happens next. And now you see it says hello twice because it hits first of all the second cube. That's the cube 2 duplicate, and then it also hits the floor, so it puts on hello twice. So that's the second difference between a collision and a trigger. And then the third and final difference would be the spelling. Now I find that most developers, when you start to develop, you begin to lose your basic vocabulary. So for trigger, we spell it trigger, then trigger, and then for collider we spell it as, or for collision we spell it as collision. So this is the final difference. Now thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit me that thumbs up, and make sure you hit that subscribe so you don't miss any more of my content on this channel, Javan. Thank you for watching, and I hope I see you in my next video.
Stay here. I'll be back.